Marvin's a financial advisor. He's going to help you understand money better. He's going to help you learn how to be your own bank. Because in every town I've ever been in, they've got really big banks and really small houses. And we're going to show you how you can be the bank. Marvin, how you doing, man?
Good. Glad to be here, Myron.
Glad to have you here, brother. So
absolutely.
So you help people. So in financial literacy,
right.
What are some of the main things that you help people understand about money?
Well, first thing is that you got to get your mind free of the traditional financial system. That's the first thing. System. The hardest thing is helping somebody to unlearn what they think they know to be true. Because if they think they know it to be true and they're following a path where 70% of people statistically run out of money before they pass away, then they may be a part of that 70%. So once I break them out of that mode, now we can teach. So,
yeah, and running out of money before you die makes you feel like you're dying before you die, probably.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because people say money's not the most important thing in the world. Well, nothing's the most important thing in the world. No one thing is the most important thing in the world, right? But money is right up there with oxygen, right?
Right.
You got to have it every day to live, and when you don't have enough of it, you feel like you can't breathe.
That's absolutely true. So I started my career because of seeing my family devastated by money. See, I grew up without.
Tell us that story.
I will. I grew up without a lot of money. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college.
Wow.
Before I went to college, at one point in my life, I saw my mom living in shelters. I was homeless. I had to see the devastation of that. But my grandmother, she was very consistent. She worked the same job for a long time. She moved us in her house. Wow. She found out the shelter my mom was in, pulled us out. And one of the things that my grandmother always instilled in me is that don't let the circumstances dictate the outcome of my life. That I could be anything that I wanted to be, and that I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. She used to tell me that scripture all the time.
Wow.
And so my grandmother was the rock in our family. So when I went to school, college, she was very proud of me. Graduated from college, then I went to law school, followed the system.
Wow.
You may have not known about law school.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So I went to law school, and then my first semester in law school, my grandmother became sick with cancer. So when she got cancer, I moved back to St. Louis to help take care of my grandmother, and she made me a durable power of attorney.
Okay.
This is when I started to learn about the financial system, because my grandmother told her financial advisor that she could not afford to lose this money. She had to keep it safe because her number one fear, Myron, was being a burden on the family.
Wow.
And when she got cancer,
probably because she had seen it happen so many times.
She's seen it happen to her mom. She's seen it happen several times. The Great Depression before, obviously. So what happened was the stock market crashed. She lost 50% of her money, although she wanted to be safe. She had no long-term care insurance, so it wiped out all of her funds. She spent down to under the $1,000 at the time threshold, had to qualify for Medicaid, passed away not wanting to get help because she was a strong, proud woman, and she had to see the devastation of her money going down and feeling like she was that burden. So that dream was that thing she wanted to avoid.
And she worked hard for her whole life.
40 years, same company, saved in a retirement plan, what we're taught to do, and just like that, without the proper planning, it was gone. So because of that, I said, I need to do something different. I'm gonna be a financial advisor, and I'm gonna change the game. I'm gonna change the system. So I started my career working for a big Wall Street firm out of St. Louis. Edward Jones is the name of the company.
I'm familiar
big
with
company.
Edward Jones, yep.
I was a financial advisor there for over 5 years.
Okay.
And I was rising. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I was growing through the ranks. I was training new financial advisors. I was a superstar.
The Edward Jones Kool-Aid.
I was drinking the Edward Jones Kool-Aid is what I call it. And then I'll never forget this time. A 63-year-old young lady, she came into my office and she said the same thing she even looked like my grandmother. She said, I don't want to lose this money. I just retired. I can't afford to lose the money. And she said, and it was right before the stock market had crashed. I didn't know that at the time.
Right.
And she said, I want to be safe. I want to put my money in safe. I even want to put some of it in cash if I can. Now
was this in 2007, 2008?
Right.
Okay.
So to me, I was actually following, the normal financial lingo jargon that we tell people. Don't worry about it. The money is in stocks. It'll come back. You're in this for the long haul. It's only a paper loss, right? But what happened was she basically convinced me to move some of her money out of the market. And I got calls from Edward Jones, like Big Brother was watching. Like, what are you doing? That's the wrong thing to do. How could you ever do that? I said, this lady is having trouble sleeping at night. Like, I'm forcing her to do something that she don't want to do. So anyway, once I realized that I felt that the big companies were doing what was in the best interest of the company and not the client, that's when I realized that I was doing the same thing to some of my clients that advisor did to my grandmother years ago. And my conscience didn't sit well with me. I left a big company. Now remember, me growing up without any money, now I'm in a position where I'm making over 6 figures with a big company. You could imagine my family thought that I was crazy.
Oh, they knew you were crazy.
I was, and I thought I was crazy too, but I said, I can't do it. My conviction won't let me do it. And I started this company, and I realized that even when I went independent, the independent advisors were thinking the same thing because they all came from the whole traditional background. So it was no different from an independent advisor. So I said, I can't get my information from the industry. I need to get my information from the people who are actually doing it, because most financial advisors, believe it or not, were broke. A lot of those financial advisors had filed bankruptcy.
I hope y'all got that. Most financial advisors are broke.
They're broke.
So they're making their money giving advice to people, and the advice that they're following and the advice that they're teaching is not working. Go ahead.
Exactly. Like, how could you file bankruptcy and guide other people on how to manage their money?
That's called the blind leading the blind.
Exactly. And most financial advisors are not making over $70,000 a year.
Wow.
That was a surprise and a shock for me. So anyway, I said, let me learn what people are actually doing. So I actually went out. I began to study wealthy individuals. I made it in my...
I got to pause that. Did y'all hear what he said? Study wealthy individuals. Make wealth a study. I wrote a book called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man.
I've read that.
I wrote a book called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man, How Anyone Can Get Rich Starting From Anywhere. And in that book, in the first chapter, I give what I call the 2-sentence wealth formula. And the 2-sentence wealth formula, I think you'll like this, Marvin, states that if you want to be rich, you got to do 2 things. Number 1, find out what rich people do, comma, and do the same thing, period. And when I say find out what rich people do, I mean find out what they do with their money. Obviously, there's some things some rich people do you don't want to do. But I'm saying find out what they do with their money and do the same thing. And number 2, the second sentence is more important than the first, and that is find out what poor people do with their money, comma, and whatever else you do, don't do that, right? And so you've got to make wealth a study. Like, think about it. What do you know how to do right now that you did not study? What do you know how to do right now that you did not learn, study, practice, and implement? So Marvin is saying, hey, I got tired of just following with these big companies. Yeah, the companies were big, just like big banks, small houses, right? The companies were big,
right? But
all these people that they were supposed to be serving, they were not like doing better financially. And even the people who worked for the companies weren't doing better financially.
Absolutely.
So good, Marv.
Thank you. Think about this. The traditional system, and I'll get back to that, but the traditional system teaches us, go to school, get a good job, get an education, go and work a job.
100.
It's saving your 401k, get student loans, and then maybe one day when you're 65, you can finally begin to start taking money out of your portfolio. You'll get penalized before that, before you're 59. And guess what? When they take it out, we even control the taxation. So if we choose we want more to share, we'll just raise taxes so you can give us more of that money that we had you to save. So it's a crazy system. And then
so crazy.
And then you go into the financial industry, who is a byproduct of that same education system, and they're giving you the cookie cutter advice, such as, oh, just put your money in bonds and stocks. Even if inflation is high, safe accounts is bonds. We know that's not the case.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. And I love the fact that you guys are posting Go Viral.
Let's go.
Let's go viral. Studies show yourself approved. But here's the reality. It's so fascinating that when it comes to money, the people who talk the loudest know the least. And the people who know the most don't barely speak above a whisper. There's a phrase I heard a long time ago. It goes, money talks, but wealth whispers, right? And so you need to be listening for the whispering voice of wealth so that you can understand how to take your family's life to the next level. So good, man.
Now, I want you all to keep this in mind, because now I'm a financial advisor now.
Right.
I've been an advisor for 5 years, superstar in my industry. You would think I would know a thing or two about money and managing money. I went to talk to these wealthy individuals that I studied, and I realized they blew my mind. I realized that everything that I ever knew about money, if I wanted to grow, I had to unlearn, because none of it was true when it came to accelerating wealth. They told me, what, you're putting all of your money into a 401k? You're teaching other people that? What, you're paying, you're having people to pay taxes?
Wow.
You're having people to pull money out of their account and pay taxes. You're not doing real estate. You're not doing depreciation. Like, all of those things that I was teaching people to do, they hadn't done. Most of the people I studied, Myron, didn't even have a college education.
Wow.
So that blew my mind. And then I found out, about 75% of the people I studied were doing this thing with life insurance.
Wow. Okay, so before we go there, first thing I want you to pick up, go to school, study hard, get good grades, graduate, go to work for a good company. Here's what's really fascinating about that loop, right? The government owns the school system, what I call the miseducational, misdirectional system, the government indoctrination camps, right? And so the government owns that. They also determine the monetary value of the money based on how much money they print. If they want money to be worth more, they print less money. If they want money to be worth less, they print more money. And then you have these big lobbyist corporations that have lobbyists working for them who go and get the government to pass laws that benefit them, but they don't benefit you and I. And so we have to, when it comes to wealth, don't do what the banks and the government tell you to do, because the government only wants two things: your money and your life, right? Don't do what they tell you to do. Do what they do.
I gotta add to that as far as the government.
Go ahead now.
Did you know that when you're overfunded, now I say overfunding because if your company gives you a match that's free money, go ahead and take the match. But if you're overfunding your 401k, did you realize that you're putting your money in prison and you're also being the biggest savings vehicle for the government, not for you? Let me explain something. So Myron, you come to me, you wouldn't do this, but you come to me and you say, Marvin, let me go ahead and borrow $10,000. Now, you come to me, it's not a dire emergency, nobody's dying, you just want to borrow $10,000. And I say, Myron, of course, here's $10,000, take it. There you go. What are you going to want to, what's two things you're going to want to know before you take that loan?
What's the interest rate? What's the rate of return? And how long do I have to pay it back?
That's it, right? What if I told you, Myron, don't worry about the interest rate. One day I'm going to think of the interest rate that I want to charge you, and at that time, I'll actually collect my interest retroactively to the day that you gave me the loan. And also, don't worry about exactly when I want my money back, but one day I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you when I want this money back. What are you going to say? Unless it's a dire emergency, you going to take that loan?
Even in a dire emergency, I'm not taking that loan.
Right,
that's
right.
a pig in the poke.
Exactly.
That's what my dad would call. That's a pig in the poke. Nobody wants a pig in the poke.
Nobody wants that.
Wow. I think you just made an analogy. That gave me chills.
Now get this. That is what most people are doing in their savings accounts, and they don't even realize it. Think about it. You're saving money in a tax-deferred account. What that means is that it's tax deferred, which means that when you take that money out, the government can raise taxes. And they're not raising taxes on the money up to the point that they raise the taxes. They're going to go back and say all of the money you previously saved is now being taxed at this tax rate that we choose to tax you. And they're going to say they have this thing called required minimum distributions, where even if you don't want to take your money out because you're saving
take out a minimum amount.
You're forced to take it out.
Wow.
And now they've really gotten bold. They set a new rule that say if you die, you can no longer stretch that money out over your lifetime. We want all of that money back. Typically, when your children are at their highest income earning years, we want all of that money back within 10 years so we can charge you the highest tax rate on that money.
Wow.
That's gangster. Now, you think you've been scammed? That's a scam. The government is scamming you every single day, but they're training you. This is all the political advertisement. This is all the TV media. Why? Because everything is ran by the government. And the first time that you played tic-tac-toe, who won? Was it you or the person that showed it to you?
The person.